I currently own over 20 companies in my stocks and shares portfolio. I've been slowly building this portfolio up for the past 6 or 7 years. So what's the value after all this time? What is happening, folks? My name is Robbie and today I'm going to be breaking down my entire investment portfolio. You'll hear companies like Amazon, Apple, Facebook, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. But before I begin, I always like to preface these videos with the fact that this is for educational purposes, entertainment purposes. I like watching videos where people break down their investment portfolio, their net worth, how they're investing, are they investing in property, stocks, crypto, whatever. So that's why I make these videos. If it gives someone the inclination to maybe start an investment portfolio, then I'm happy. Another point to mention is this video covers cryptocurrency, stocks and shares, and index funds. I also invest in other asset classes like property, whiskey and watches, for example. If you'd like to hear more about those investments, let me know and I'll make a video about that as well. Since I was pretty much AWOL for 2024, this is the first time I've sat down and made a video in quite a long time due to getting married, selling the shares in my previous business, moving into a new industry. I'm going to start fresh with this portfolio update for January. No comparisons to previous quarters because I've barely posted any portfolio updates anyway, so at the end I'll just base today's numbers on last January, but I won't do it for every individual stock, I'll just do it on the totals. So let's get straight into the portfolio. Section 1, as always, is index funds. This is the chunkiest part of my portfolio. It's probably always going to be the chunkiest part of my portfolio unless cryptocurrency overtakes it, and if it does, I'll probably take some out and invest that elsewhere to make cryptocurrency not the largest part of my portfolio because I'm quite risk averse. Germany All Cap Fund, £1,185.36. FTSE 250, £1,866.76. Emerging Markets Index Fund, £3,240.59. And the main event in index funds, which is the case with a lot of people's portfolios, the S&P 500, £77,026.53. I also have £324.05 in cash in the account as well. I'll include this in that number because it's already in my stocks and shares ISA, so it will be invested at some point in the near future. So that gives us a total for index funds of £83,643.29. That's a 34% increase from last January, which equates to about £21,000. Good start. Looking at index funds, we've had a great year so far. Hopefully a sign of what's to come with the rest of the portfolio. Individual stocks is up next. So starting from the bottom in individual stocks, we have Warner Brothers Discovery, £25.84. I didn't even buy this stock. It made its way into my portfolio through some sort of mergers and acquisitions situation. I didn't actually buy it. It hasn't performed well. It would almost cost the same amount to sell it as it would to just hold on to it, because of the fees on the platform, so I'm just going to keep it there and maybe one day it goes back up. Corsair, £48.14. Evraz, £58.02. Now, I invested in Evraz based on the fact that it had a relatively high dividend. I think I put like £200 into it, based on the fact that it would produce a decent enough dividend. However, I think it was about 6 weeks after I invested in Evraz, Russia invaded Ukraine. Evraz is a Russian company, drilling and mining, I think it is, off the top of my head. So that has been frozen in place ever since. The only way that the price fluctuates up or down is due to currency fluctuations, not the actual price of the stock. Persimmon, £97.42. Realty Income Corp, £152.33. A lot of these lower value stocks are sort of dividend plays just to see what sort of dividends they can produce, and I'll just reinvest whatever dividends I get. Probably won't be retiring off my £150 in Realty Income Corp, but we'll see what happens. I'm only 30, plenty of time. Scottish Mortgage Trust, £217.14. AT&T, £234.05. Lloyds Banking Group, £238.32. BP, £272.96. Shell, £322.57. IAG, which is the parent company of companies like British Airways, £562.31. LVMH, that's the parent company of Louis Vuitton, that's what the LV stands for, among various other luxury goods companies, luxury clothing and brands, £530.32. Warehouse REIT, that's a real estate investment trust, investing in warehouses, says it in the name, £493.11. Procter & Gamble, £639.41. Berkshire Hathaway, £718.86. Starbucks, £963.93. Now we're getting into the good stuff, the holdings that are over £1,000. Apple, £1,169.91. American Express, £1,202.05. Netflix, £2,105.49. Meta, Facebook, £2,006.75. Google, or Google's parent company Alphabet, £3,134.03. Amazon, £3,623.05. So based on these holdings, particularly the larger of those holdings, are companies that I use personally. I don't do charts trying to predict where the price is going to go. I base my investments on the news, what I see in day-to-day life as companies that might do well based on my own intuition. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not some stock picking guru. That's why most of my money is in index funds as opposed to the individual stocks. This is more of trying to play the game and see if I can sort of beat the market a little bit. I also have two other companies that are in this portfolio that are sort of startups that I've invested in as well. So these companies aren't publicly traded companies. I invested in them through sort of like a crowdfunding round. So the first one is Nothing, £2,921.48. Now Nothing is a technology company, so they make phones and sort of AirPods, their own wireless earphones. And Chip, a fintech platform, which I'll put links to both of these in the description in case you want to look to see what they are, because with the other companies you'll know what Starbucks is, what Apple is, what American Express is, but you might be curious about these two other companies, so I'll include them in the description. I also have a free trade account. This account's an account that I just sort of messed around with. I think a lot of the holdings inside this account are sitting in Amazon. Some of this has came from free shares that I've received from promoting free trade on TikTok and YouTube. In this account I currently have £292.13, and over my individual stocks and shares accounts I also have £436.65 in cash. Same as the stocks and shares ISA. I'm including it in these numbers because it's already in the accounts, so it will be used to invest at some point. I just don't know where I'm going to put it yet. That brings the total for individual stocks to £26,343.22. That's an increase of £6,771.77 over the last 12 months, which equates to 34%, which is the same as the index funds, which means I would have been as well just putting the money into the index funds, or putting all my money from the index funds into the individual stocks. They've performed the same. Now these numbers are also including money that I've deposited into accounts, so I might have chucked a little bit more money into my stocks and shares ISA than I have my individual stocks. However, my individual stocks are worth about 20% of what my index funds are, so if I put £5,000 of cash into my index funds and £1,000 of cash into my individual stocks, it would equate to the same. So it doesn't really matter. The main point is both of them have increased by 34% over the last 12 months. I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that, actually. It's a lot better than if I'd just kept the money in my bank account. The total portfolio is now sitting at £109,986.51. And now we're going into the most volatile category every quarter, which is cryptocurrency, of course. Now this is an exciting one. If you've watched my previous portfolio updates or any previous videos, you would know that I have a fair chunk of my cryptocurrency tied up in a platform called Blockfi. Blockfi is now bankrupt, gone, as is my money. But essentially, I got some of my money back from Blockfi in around, I think it was April last year, about £5,000. So it wasn't the full amount, but I did receive some of it. So it's a good sign that I might get more back. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So I mention this every portfolio update, but I am basing my holdings on current crypto prices. So if/when I get the confirmation from Blockfi or their legal team that I'm not getting any more money back, the portfolio will take a dip. I'll wipe that from the spreadsheet, but until then the holdings that are held on Blockfi still exist in the portfolio until such times as I'm told definitively I'm not getting them back. Usually the crypto section stays pretty much the same, no new coins and no coins sold off, but this month is different. Floki is gone. Again, if you'd watched my previous videos, particularly the last portfolio updates, I said that Floki was going to remain in the portfolio until it either went back up to what I paid for it or goes down to zero. Actually, I'll insert that clip now from that previous video. Next up is Floki Inu. Hands down the worst investment I've ever made. I will hold on to this forever. until it either goes to zero or goes back to what I paid for it, which is extremely unlikely. But it went up. Not only did it go up, it fucking rocketed. It went all the way back up to the £2,000 that I paid for it. I think the last portfolio update, it was worth about 400 quid. Currently sits at £405, which is an 80% jump on last quarter, which sounds amazing until you realise I paid £2,000 for it, so it's really not amazing. It's now gone. Out the portfolio forever. Sold the lot. And then almost as soon as I sold it, it dropped again. So I couldn't have timed it any better. After fees and stuff like that, I still lost a little bit of money, but I'm just happy to have received some money back because it was looking like it was going to go to zero, and it might still go to zero, but I'm out at least. But I think it's only fair that I eat my words and apologise to the boys that I invested in Floki with. We all invested at the same time into Floki, and I've spent the last 2 or 3 years telling them it was a terrible investment. I mean, it was a terrible investment, but I didn't really lose that much money on it, so hold my hands up. I apologise. I hope you guys sold as well, because I did, and it went back down. Anyway, cryptocurrency. 2 coins left in the portfolio, Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's it. Ethereum, £5,802.88. And finally, the big one, my favourite one, the only one I might hold long term, might even get rid of Ethereum at this rate, Bitcoin. Bitcoin holdings are currently sitting at £64,376.50. That brings the crypto portfolio to £70,179.38. An increase of £39,248.72 since last January. That's up 126%. So I should have taken all the stocks, all the index funds, all my savings, remortgaged the house, chucked a lot into Bitcoin for a year, and I would have doubled my money, but that would be silly. And I'm not silly. So in total, where does the portfolio sit compared to last January? The total portfolio value currently this year is £180,165.89, a 59% increase on last January. That equates to a cash increase of £67,457.42. It's pretty good. The target used to be get the portfolio above 100,000. Now the target is to stay above 100,000 forever, really. But I think it's now time to set our sights on a new target. So the new target for the portfolio is £250,000. That might take a year, it might take a decade, but it'll happen at some point. Place your bets below. Let me know in the comments, how long will it take? How long do you think it'll take for me to get to $250,000 in this portfolio? As I mentioned at the start of this video, this is for educational, entertainment purposes, just so people can get an insight into what I'm investing in. I find these types of videos interesting. I hope you find this one interesting as well. I have had a few people let me know that it's sort of inspired them to start investing or maybe ramp up their investing. So hopefully this might spur someone on to start their investment portfolio. Thank you as always for watching, folks. Take it easy.